I'm sure the teacher meant to refer to the supply one in the second one.
I think so too, but I didn't know, and I was really confused about that.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you look at something, 2 months later, you're like, well, maybe. So let's see here. So aggregate supply. Let's just do this as aggregate supply. I mean, I think that's the most reasonable thing to do. Maybe make a change there. I even used to put notes into the teacher, meaning like I would say out to the side, like I think you meant aggregate supply, in the chance that I was right, that they give me a little bonus on that one. But at least I felt good about what I was doing. So if you look at aggregate supply, there's the first two sentences. Our first sentence here, it gives everything that we need. And let me snip that in here so you can see it, and then we'll write them down. So aggregate supply represents country's entire economic capacity to produce, includes the total number of land. So land, labor is the second one, and capital resources. We're missing one. The total number of land. Wait, the total number of land, labors, and capital resources. Huh. Maybe they meant the three types.
Maybe.
I mean, there isn't really a fourth.
Unless, no, I think that's, yeah.
I mean, just going off of what they said there. Let me do a quick internet search here. Is made up of aggregate supply is made up of labor, capital. The other ones that I'm seeing here are like natural resources, which is maybe not a capital resource. We want to go off of what's here rather than go through our own sort of like what we think is right.
Maybe.
So I'm not sure. If you're asking my opinion, it's to go into the person you're handing this to and say, did you mean this, or did you mean something else? And then maybe quickly change it based on what they say there for that.
Right. It is kind of late because that's my fault.
Well, be kind to yourself. I mean, we're trying to interpret what somebody else put down. It's a tough thing to do sometimes. Okay, questions 3 through 8 refer to this graph. So it says a scenario here is assume that a country's economy is in short run equilibrium, okay? And the actual unemployment rate is higher than the natural rate of employment. Which graph shows the economy with an inflationary gap? Okay, so you're saying it's graph A. What most likely caused this to occur? It's a great question. I have no idea. Actual unemployment is higher than the natural rate. So there's like 4 words that are associated with this, and I'm going to look those up now. There's like some they're different types of unemployment. Like frictional is one that comes to mind. I don't remember the others, but one of these is in here. So okay, actual unemployment rate higher than natural rate. All right, so you probably heard of like cyclical unemployment.
Yes.
Okay, so that's another one. Let me get the types of unemployment here to maybe answer this. All right, and understanding each. So there's cyclical, frictional, structural, seasonal. There's a few others here, and we can maybe answer these based on this. All right.
I do remember cyclical, frictional, structural, and then I think normal unemployment, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let me do this another way. Huh. This is an AP question.
Is it
Yeah,
fun?
yeah. Uh, Unemployment rate is less than the natural. Why unemployment rate? Uh, I guess we can just call it, um, it's caused by the inflationary gap. It's kind of the answer I see a couple of times here as well. I don't know if that's sufficient, but we can call it it's caused by this gap.
By the inflationary gap.
Yeah, somewhat reasonable. And that's what they're asking about. All right. So I think a bunch of these questions refer back to this image. And let's
Yeah.
take a look here.
Oh my God. Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah. So we're gonna so your number 4, it's 9. So for 4 there, it's the I keep thinking we should talk about so let's see here. Number 4 here, graph B. It's reasonable here. Recessionary gap is there. Graph B, okay. And what's most likely to cause this? So short of just saying recessionary gap here, maybe we should say like it's caused by the unemployment rate is lower than the natural rate of unemployment. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm not sure how else to answer this other than just go back and say recessionary gap or what's previously there. I'm not really sure what they want for this, but I think the questions change a little bit in the next problem here. Scenario short run equilibrium. Real output is below the natural rate. Natural rate, natural rate. Okay. Can you give me like 2 minutes to I'd like to go look at this on another computer that I usually have when I'm working, but I don't have it today. So it's just a technical issue. But can you just give me like 2 minutes to go look these up? Another resource I got, and I'll be right back with you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay, I was not able to find something that I thought was particularly useful here, but we know that an inflationary gap, if we believe that it's graph A, it's when this long run aggregate supply is to the right of the equilibrium, and that the recessionary gap occurs when the long run aggregate supply is to the left of this equilibrium. Is that okay?
Yes.
So the next question here, the one like number 5, we're basically asking which one is it? Is it left or is it right, and why? Okay, because it's got to be one of these graphs. Like there's no, excuse me, there's not a, it's not a third graph to consider. So assume that a country's economy is in a short run equilibrium and the real output is below the natural rate. So it's in short run equilibrium, but the real output is below the natural rate. Which one of these previous ones had that's the same situation? The real output is below the natural rate. Let's see, did this one have it higher than the natural rates? Below the natural rate.
I think it was the first one, number 3. So it'd be graph A.
Okay, so graph A there, and then we can answer the following questions with so what type of gap is this economy experiencing? So we can go with
Inflation.
inflationary gap. Seems reasonable to me. Now, this is where it goes to, well, what can the country central bank use to move the economy towards long recovery? When there's inflation, it means there's too much currency in the economy. So they would want to take the currency away. So they would sell like treasury bills, because then they're taking in the dollars off the street.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So yeah, kind of like it's like back and forth here. I would assume the next one is the graph B, but let's take a look. Maybe we can find a reason to
No,
so
yeah, that seems right.
okay, and so graph B, and we go back, and this is the recessionary gap. So this is when you want to put money into the economy. So they would buy treasury bills,
It
or
would be bonds, right?
bonds. Sorry, bonds. Thinking treasury bills. That's something else. That's that's what investors do. But one is putting currency in, one is taking currency out, and it's from the, depends on the perspective, right? If you sell a bond, you're pulling currency out, you're taking currency out of circulation. If you buy, it's the other direction here.
Right.
So they're trying to put more money into the hands of people in scenario 6. Okay, 7. Above the full level of employment. Let's see here. So above the full level of employment, I mean, this is generally a good thing. You don't, like, we actually strive for this. So this to me is more like the good scenario, the inflationary gap, graph A. Like it's a good scenario to have, to be above full employment.
Right.
Well, I take that back. I wonder, see, that's where I'm not, that's where I'd love to get, you gotta get in the mind of the person who wrote this. Like, does that mean there's too many jobs? Like you just have jobs to have jobs. And so there's too much money, too much currency out there. That's where I'm unsure here, how to sort of answer this one.
Hmm.
What do you think? What's your feedback, opinion on this one?
I think it's I think it's a good thing, like you said before, because it's um you need a certain type of um money output so that you can have enough employment, right?
Yeah.
So a full employment level of output would be having more money in the long run, meaning an inflationary gap. Yeah.
Okay. So the open market operations, they're gonna mirror the previous ones. Yeah, they're gonna sell. If there's too much currency, they want to take some of it away.
Right.
And then 8 will be kind of the complete opposite of this. So we'll go graph B again, recession, and then buy bonds. All right, so question 9, another graph here.
Sorry if some of the flows are pretty bad. I was sending them during class.
It's okay. These are good. I get a lot worse. So these are readable. That's important. All right, here we go. All right, assume that a country's economy is in long run equilibrium as shown in the graph. What is the unemployment rate at long run equilibrium? So not sure how you're supposed to determine this because they're giving you price level and GDP. Any thoughts on that before I go to the internet?
Uh, the unemployment rate.
Yeah, I mean the graph has price level and real GDP.
No, I got no idea.
So I wonder if it's something like, oh, the natural equals the actual. Maybe that's what they're referring to here.
Maybe I've never heard that, but maybe.
Yeah. Let me do a quick search here. All right, so this is considered full employment when it's at this level, and real GDP is equal to potential real GDP. So I guess I think I would go with this because of the way that reads. I'm not sure it's looking for a number, but
Maybe.
yeah,
I think this is fine.
yeah. I mean, we got to get something down here, and then um, all right. So now the next question is asking about the actual like numbers here. Let me get those. Part B says in beginning and long run, recession short impact. Okay. What happened to price levels? All right. Imagine the economy is experiencing recession. So a lot of people think that we're going through that right now. What short run impact would this have on the economy's price level and unemployment in the short run? So um, what do you notice about prices right now?
In our economy,
Yeah.
they're rising.
Yes. So they are going up. And unemployment in a recession is a situation where unemployment also goes up, unfortunately.
Sadly.
Yes. affects a lot of people. I mean, this is why this stuff's so important. It's like, what causes it? What causes it to go the other way?
Right.
All right, so this next one here, we can actually do some shifting of the curves. It says, beginning in the long run equilibrium, imagine a negative supply shock where the SRAS would shift to the left. So let me go grab that, because then we can actually see it graphically. We'll see what's going on here. All right, so here we go. Well, here we go. So that SRAS is moving left.
Mhm.
Okay,
So
so
price level and output would both increase.
well, price level increases, but output appears, that's real GDP.
Oh, so decreased.
Yeah, and that's bad. That's bad for everyone. It costs more and you get less. You buy a bag of potato chips right now, and boy, you don't get hardly any.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then the next one, beginning in long-run equilibrium, imagine a highly inflationary economy where AD shifted to the right.
Okay, so that's the, let me get this down here. You can see here, AD shifts to the right.
Right.
This is all about, I mean, this is the economics I like, because you can see it graphically. There's no mystery here. When it goes to the right, price increases and output also increases.
Right.
So price level goes up, but output, so price level goes up. I guess they're not asking about output, but unemployment, a demand shift to the right in the short run. Not sure.
I think unemployment would increase, right? Because when
Sure.
the price level goes up, then unemployment has to go up, right?
Let's go with it. I'm not, these are very sensitive issues, meaning that like it's sometimes like at the micro level, like where you live, it might be one way, but at macro level, it's another. And that's what we're studying, macro. So that's where I'm not sure.
Right. Hmm.
All right. Any questions then before we move on to the next problem?
No, thank you.
How many more of these do you have, assignments to get caught up on? Just kind of curious.
I'm missing 9, but
Okay,
I've gotten some of them in, so I'm doing better.
that's great. That's
Around
awesome.
5.
All right. Well, if you need us to do those, do have some extra times, but we can always, tackle them on Mondays and Tuesdays. All right. So here we go. It says a shift to the left of the aggregate demand curve. What condition is represented on this graph? So they're basically asking, when aggregate demand shifts left, what causes that? And kind of feel like that was answered in the previous problem, but I'm also going to just do a quick search on this to so total consumer spending declines. So there's a lot of things that could cause that. Recession would be kind of the answer that I'm thinking of based on what was in the previous problems and kind of what we see right now. I'm not convinced it's a recession, but I'm not an economist either, so don't know. But when when you see prices go up, when you see people struggling, it's hard not to think that we're in a somewhat of a decline. But the full answer is that total consumer spending goes down.
Okay.
The money that you, me, your parents, people we know, we are just all spending less. And sometimes that's confusing, but you're like, well, prices are up. It's like, yeah, but prices are up, so you actually buy less. Your nets, you're kind of like what you're actually getting. Your basket of goods is less. I think that's what's implied here. Oh, Maybe I answered part B, what might have caused this condition to occur, which is the recession. Oops.
So part A,
Might
part
be
A is the total consumer spending, or part
that.
B is
Yeah, that's kind of the way I'm reading it. Is that I can't get in there. Yeah, I'm reading it as total consumer spending. It's part A, and the recession is part B. Decreases.
oh, uh, spending decreases in the recession. Okay. Huh.
So let's look at the next one here. We got if sticky wages become flexible downward. Sticky wages become flexible downward. Which curve will shift and in what direction to return to long run equilibrium? I don't know this at all. The sticky wage theory is that like even if like people don't want to be paid less, so employers figure out a way to cut costs in other areas rather than reducing pay. Because when your pay goes down, that's really bad for people. So they look for other ways. I want to say that this probably going to affect aggregate demand, but let me just double check here.
Um, wouldn't it shift the supply curve?
I'm not sure. I'm still looking. It does look like it might shift the supply curve. Yes, you are correct. Okay. Short run relationship between price and output level. Which way is it going to shift it? That's the next question. Why one way or the other?
If they're flexible downward, wouldn't it shift to the left?
That would make sense. So they're suggesting that this one's going left, and that's even what they're showing here. No, I'm sorry, they're showing the AD, but short run aggregate supply. Goes left. Okay.
Okay.
Double shift. All right. From A to B, demand pull or cost push.
I think this one's demand pull.
Okay.
What might happen to unemployment at this point in the short run?
So point B, and I assume they mean uppercase B. The prices have increased and real GDP is also increased, but I think we should look at it more from the perspective of the prices increasing, probably. Again, I'm not sure if they mean like compared to actual and natural employment.
Right.
Let me see, or they're just asking like, does unemployment goes up or down? I think that's what they're probably asking you here. Um,
Hmm.
so demand pool causes inflation to I would think increase, but
Demand pool causes AD to rise and PL to rise. So in the short run, meaning unemployment will
so product rises, demand pull inflation occurs, more inflation rising. Oh, it says unemployment will fall, actually. That's what I'm
unemployment
seeing.
fall.
Yeah. So the economy is incapable of increasing meeting the increase of demand. So I guess they need more jobs is the way to read that.
I see. Based on theory of sticky wages and sticky prices, why is the economy able to overproduce in the short run? Um,
I think they're asking you to think about like wages are not changing, but prices are well,
prices also aren't changing in this situation.
yeah. So they overproduce because the demand is higher. I'm sorry, hmm,
They
new
overproduce because they're in a inflation, right?
yeah,
So because they're in inflation, they can do they have to overproduce to make the
same amount
same
or
amount
produced.
they're looking
Yeah.
for. Good. If the government and Fed do nothing, what curve will shift to get the economy back to long-run equilibrium? Explain.
So they're at B, and I guess they're trying to get back to C, I guess would be.
So it'd be the supply curve then, right?
Yeah.
Um, because with less uh because with less output for them to produce and a higher price, then they'll um be back to the normal equilibrium, right?
Yes. All right, so that takes care of that
Yes.
page. We're almost through. Was this 11 that we just did?
Yes.
So 12 is like this box grid thing.
Oh,
Scenario whether increases or decreases long run aggregate supply. All right, so these I think are easier to justify because they're more intuitive. So for scenario A, United States permanently loosens labor laws and allows anyone over the age of 12 to work. Right now, I think it's like 16. So that would really increase the number of people in the labor pool, if you can imagine that.
right.
So to me, it's an increase. The explanation is just more workers.
New oil reserves are discovered and expected to provide increased supply levels for the next 200 years.
So to me, I take that to mean that that's a long enough time horizon that it's going to shift for sure. Like if it said the next year, not sure, but if it 200
It's a,
years is pretty long time.
yeah. So definite increase.
Yeah.
And then it's because there's
More resources, maybe. I think they're looking for that whole like workers as the labor, resources, capital.
right. It allows new businesses such as Google, Facebook to emerge, increasing jobs and the capacity to produce. That's worded so weirdly, but okay.
Yeah. To yeah, whatever. to be businesses, so that whenever you increase the number of jobs, that's a good thing. That's going to attract more workers.
Right.
So again, I think I'm glad these are all kind of positive, so that you see like what it actually does to help here.
That would be an increase, right? Yeah.
Yep. Just more employment. So that could be kind of technology based or labor based.
Right.
Okay. The last one is kind of negative. I think it's actually very negative.
Antibiotic resistant superbug kills off half the American labor force.
Yeah, this is your zombie apocalypse.
It would decrease, and the reason would be there's no workers or
Yeah,
less.
there's less workers, and it's hard to recover from that. It takes a long time to get back.
Yeah. Oh no. Wait. So that's 12. So 13 is, oh wow.
Oh, is there a 13? I didn't. I gotta go.
Oh
Search.
no, what? Wait.
I thought I saw this ending at 12, but you're saying there's another one.
I mean, it doesn't say 13, but there's another scenario page.
Okay. I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing number 12. Is that something you could quickly send over?
Uh,
We got a few minutes left here if you want us to look at that.
yeah. Sorry, I guess I missed it.
It's okay. Yeah.
Sending now. Hold on.
Great.
This one. Attach file. This one. Send.
Okay, yeah, this is good. This is probably the harder one, is to figure out, does it affect supply, demand, short term, long term? And I feel like some of these could be up for interpretation,
Right.
but we'll do our best here to answer as many of these as we can. So foreigners buy less US made products and more European products. So the question is, will that affect supply in the short run or the long run? And I guess I'll take your opinion on this.
Foreigners buy less US made products and more European. I think that would be more short run, right?
Okay. For the short run, for sure, I have no idea whether it'll affect in the long run. Maybe the US will do something, but definitely going to move it left in the short term.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Florida orange groves suffer a season of below freezing temperatures that cause a temporary reduction in oranges.
So the fact that it's temporary, and we may go back and change our answer to A. Temporary, the fact that it's a season, that's short run for sure.
That would definitely be short run, yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of leads me to think that the previous one might be long run, instead of short run, but not
I
sure.
mean, because there's like 8 parts to this, right? So even if one of them is another on the same line, it would be a different short run graph, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just that's sort of where my head's at when I see 2 in a row that are the same. I sort of wonder if that was the intent, but
Yeah.
let's keep going here. Increased job opportunities overseas cause many US workers to leave the country. Okay. They have no intention of returning. That's really important.
That would be
That's
long run.
long run, also going left.
Consumer confidence falls and the US enters a recession.
Okay, so this affects aggregate demand. That's
Right.
total consumer spending. And
Yes.
we presume it goes left because people are spending less.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense.
Wow, E is quite awful.
Tsunami engulfs Florida. Florida ceased to exist.
All right, well, so that's a long-term thing.
Yeah, it gets
Long-term, it's
rid of.
gone. Now, could it affect more than one? I didn't even notice that. I didn't read it. Could it affect more than one here? I guess it just suggests one. Okay, so to me, that's the long run. There's no way to get it back.
Yeah. RIP Florida, I guess.
Yeah. I guess they could do the same thing next to California earthquake ceases to exist here. All right, letter F here, consumer income increases. That's a good thing. That means people want to spend more.
I mean AD, right?
Yes, AD, aggregate demand. Finally, one that moves it to the right. So again, like, you always want to think of this, is it short term? Is it long term? Amazon drone development allows increased abilities to ship products. So you think of that. Go ahead.
That'll be long run, right? Because it
Yeah,
can
we would.
transfer more over
Yeah,
to over long distances of time.
yeah. We don't expect to go backwards either. And then last one here, a blizzard. Is a blizzard short term or long term?
Well, it shuts it down for 2 weeks. So I think long run.
That's considered short run. Short run, because I think they give a designation of like a year as being long run. Something like
Okay.
that. Something like that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Well, we just hit the